All right, I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Salem City Council for Monday, August 10th, 2026. Will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Tigan.
Present.
Councillor Nishioka.
Here.
Councillor Matthews.
Here.
Councillor Gwynn.
Here.
Councillor Brown.
Present.
Councillor Vang.
Here.
Councillor Nordijk.
Here.
Councillor Varney.
Here.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Here. Councillor Gwynn, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Councillor Gwynn, thank you for subbing for Chair Nishioka this evening. Chair Nishioka, glad you were able to join us. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
We do have, I move approval of an addition, which is a presentation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Matthews. Councillor, anything to the motion?
So this is a presentation for 5.1, the Northeast United Collaborative.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Tigan.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka.
Aye.
Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Councillor Nordijk.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. Thank you. That motion passes. Now we're moving on to Council and City Manager comment. City Manager Numbury, go right ahead.
Thank you. I want to express my appreciation for the community's engagement and many people who have taken the time to share their concerns and perspectives regarding the VERS proposal. I just want the community to know that today I released a public city manager statement about the VERS proposal, and that statement is available on the city's website.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Nordijk.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. So first of all, I want to extend my gratitude to our city manager. Thank you for sharing that statement, for crafting it. You've shown a consistent desire to listen to our community and to engage with our community. And we have moved very swiftly, and I'm very appreciative of that. So first of all, thank you. I also want to reiterate, whenever there is a controversial issue that comes to us, there's a lot of misinformation that circulates and spreads like wildfire. So I always encourage you to ask for the facts. I know that the city has already published a frequently asked questions page about the data center, and I know that this will continue to drive a great deal of public engagement. And I am here for it, and I welcome that public engagement. I want to reiterate that last week when there was someone testifying, for example, someone was under the impression that we had directed our city manager to meet with Aaron Stickney over development. We had not. Mr. Stickney had contacted me because he was at the time considering the cannery project, which is a major, I think like 13 acres worth of property up in Front Street. And so he had a lot of questions, which I addressed to the best of my ability. And I also directed the city manager and our director, Kristen Rutherford, to meet with him to also discuss his concerns about the cannery project, not about data centers. So I just want to encourage folks it's easy to assume bad intentions. It's easy in a climate of ongoing distrust to assume the worst. And I urge you to keep up with us as we learn rapidly what we can do and how we can respond to whatever the issue of the day is. So your continued engagement is appreciated. And please always read the staff reports and the information that the staff are sharing, because they want the public to know. So I think that's really important. Okay. I have one more thing I want to talk about, but it requires, all right, camera crew, I want to make sure you get a good look at this. Yes, park volunteer right here. Now, why am I wearing this fabulous fashion-forward attire? Well, I will tell you. It's because I have been proud to work with our city to organize not one, not two, but 5 garbage cleanup projects around the city. And so this Friday, please join me and my volunteers for my 5th garbage cleanup project. This time, we are going to Cascade Gateway Park. So we'll be there from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. when it's nice and cool. We all know it's summertime, right? And if you RSVP, you too will get an amazing fashion-forward orange vest. This goes with everybody's coloring, right? We will also have sterile gloves. We'll have garbage bags. We'll have the little garbage picker uppers. And this is just a way of beautifying our city. Everyone is welcome to join us, so please RSVP. And in order to RSVP, please visit my Facebook page. I have the link to the RSVP there. And if you're not able to join us this Friday, don't worry. We will be back in September. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Yeah, Councillor Varney, go ahead.
Thank you. I just briefly wanted to mention to everyone that I am having a town hall at Chemeketa Eola on Wednesday, August 12th from 6:30 to 7:30. Because of the limited space, pre-registration is required, and it's going to be limited to West Salem residents only, just because of the limited space, and the facility is concerned about overflow, et cetera. So I just wanted to make that announcement. Go to my Facebook site, get a hold of me, and I can send you the link for West Salem residents, but just wanted to get that word out. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Tigan, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've just prepared a statement for this evening. Over the last 2 meetings, we've heard directly from the public on an issue of real local importance, and one that is certainly tied to a growing national conversation. And I would just take a minute to acknowledge that in a moment when representative democracy can feel like it's on the ropes, we should be proud that our community can come together, be heard, and see its elected officials respond. I think as a council, we've acknowledged that we need more time to craft regulations for a new kind of development. We've enabled a task force that can help inform that code, and a review of our own internal processes so we can make sure we're living up to our commitments to transparency. It's this last one that I want to speak to more tonight. I agreed 2 weeks ago, and I agree tonight, that our use of non-disclosure agreements merits review, and that there may be ways to keep their benefits while telling the community more about what's being discussed in its name. But I want to say clearly what I don't agree with. In raising the NDA, many commenters moved from questioning a tool to questioning the character of the people who serve the city. A fair policy question became grounds for personal attacks on our civil servants. Let me be clear about both halves of this conversation. We can agree and wish that this development had come to light sooner, and reviewing how we disclose these agreements is fair and something we've committed to. But wishing our process were better is different than attacking the integrity of the people who followed that process in good faith. So I'll reiterate what I said last week. I have full confidence in our city staff, including and especially our city manager, to continue to lead us forward. These are people who've given decades of service with Salem's well-being as their North Star. As your counselor and as a volunteer for many years before, I've seen the care behind their work. And I don't share the view that the value of their lifetimes of dedication has somehow been erased in this incident. We can debate NDAs and how do we use them going forward. I think that's fair and a healthy debate. It's one we're going to have. Our public servants should be part of working that out, not blamed for following the rules the council set for them. The passion in this issue, to me, isn't a problem to manage. It's the kind of civic energy most cities only wish they had. As we take up the work ahead, this task force, the new code, the process review, Salem won't just end up with better rules. We'll have shown the community what it can do when it takes its own future seriously. My commitment as we move forward is to hold our shared values close as we do that work. To me, that means focusing on the issues and the policies at the center of the conversation rather than on the people who serve the city. I hope others will join me in that commitment. I really believe that's how we'll turn the great energy that we've seen over the last few weeks into something we can all be proud of. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Yes, Councillor Brown.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll be brief. Councillor Tigan, I do join you and stand with you in that commitment. Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Gwynn.
Councillor Tigan, you always have the right words, and I too will stand with you, and I agree 100% with what you've said. I have talked to some of our city staff, and they can't speak more highly of Krishna and city staff in general. Our leadership team, the culture in the city has changed in a very dynamic and positive way since Krishna has taken the helm. So, thank you.
Councillor Matthews.
Yeah, I, like everyone else, agree with your statement. I think that you wrote it extremely well, especially when it came to describing the passion that the staff have and the good intentions that they always have. I think that's one thing that was almost disturbing, is that was the part that seemed to keep getting lost, is that because there was a disagreement about how the process was I guess, given to the community, somehow or another that wiped away 2 decades for some of these people or more of performance and support and passion for this community. In particular for City Manager Nambury, I've worked with her since I got into this role almost, and I've seen that her passion is just seeing Salem succeed, and so everything she seems to do is with the lens of how do we make Salem better, and somehow or another that grace wasn't afforded to her or the rest of the staff for a lot of community members that were testifying and pushed back, and I don't think it was Salem's finest moment in that particular piece.
Anyone else? Councillor Nishioka, go ahead.
Thank you very much. If I were present, I would make statement that was longer, but I want to thank all my fellow councillors for their statements in support of our city staff, and in particular, Ms. Nambury. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else? Well, I just want to thank my colleagues for their comments, and you have my support as well. Thank you. And I struggled with whether or not to say anything, but when people can devolve to a point to where unkindness is wielded like a weapon, it's difficult to watch. And I would like to ask our community to rise a little higher and be less unkind toward a process that is just simply in place. So, thank you. Anyone else? All right, we have, yes? Someone else? Okay. We have no proclamations. We do have a presentation that I am particularly excited about, recognizing the city's Fleet Services Division, ranked as number 1 in NAFA, Fleet Management Association's 100 Best Fleets in the Americas. So I have some remarks I'd like to share about that. And this, yes, right? Thank you for coming. Thank you to your family for joining you here. That's really special. We'll all get up here for a photo in just a moment. I'm going to share some remarks, and then the city manager will go ahead too. Tonight, it's my privilege to recognize the City of Salem Fleet Services team for earning the top ranking in 2 of the public fleet industry's most respected programs. Salem ranked number 1 among public fleets in NAFA, Fleet Management Association's 100 Best Fleets in the Americas program. The city was also named the #1 overall fleet in the government fleet and the American Public Works Association Leading Fleets program. Salem is ranked among the nation's top 100 public fleets for 7 consecutive years, including a top 3 finish in each of the past 3 years. This sustained success reflects the team's commitment to continuous improvement, exceptional customer service, and reliable support to city departments. Fleet Services supports the vehicles and equipment used for police and fire response, street and utility maintenance, parks, and many other essential services. This work advances the city goals for a safe and healthy community, safe, reliable, and efficient infrastructure, natural environment stewardship, and good governance. On behalf of the City Council and the Salem community, congratulations to the entire Fleet Services team.
No, it's good to see the fleet team here. I have had the privilege to have the fleet division under my portfolio when I was the Deputy City Manager for Enterprise Services. So in case you haven't taken a tour of the fleet location, I strongly suggest, because the way they kind of operate really shows why they have been picked to be the #1 in the country. So the performance behind this award is equally impressive, right? So if you, the number of employees in the fleet division is like 13 employees support more than 1,100 vehicles and the pieces of equipment that is used throughout the city. So last year, Fleet Services achieved 99% fleet availability and completed more than 87% of repairs within 24 hours. And these results keep city employees working, and we are reducing the disruptions to the community services through that. The team, of course, like everything the team works on is a very much data-informed decisions. That is kind of how they operate. So the team uses performance data and technology to strengthen preventive maintenance, manage costs, reduce unnecessary idling, and ensure that the departments have the right vehicles and equipment for their work. So in that process, the entire team has contributed to reduce the cost of operations for the fleet division. So this approach demonstrates the financial stewardship, measurable results, and sustainable service commitment established in the city's new strategic plan. So I personally appreciate the professionalism of our fleet service employees and the strong partnership they have built within the departments across the city. And I know you have earned this recognition, and congratulations. I know every day how you work is what kind of got you into the place that you're in. So I truly appreciate all of you for the work that you do.
Family want to come up too? Do you want to come up for pictures? Yep. Of course. Let's get everybody in here.
Safety first.
Scoot in a little bit.
One, two, three.
So I just want to say a couple words about the team. They really do show up every day. They have a mindset of continuous improvement. And so that really is evident over the years of the things that we've worked on. They come up with great ideas, because I'm not the smartest person in the room. So they come up with ideas and go, yeah, that's awesome, go do it. And so it's really impressive to watch the team grow and work and improve. and it's been a joy to watch them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, little miss. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Congratulations. So cute. Thank you so much. Congratulations again to everyone. All right, we are now on to item 2, which is public comment for items that are on the agenda for this evening. We have only 4 people signed up, and rather than make them wait till the end of the meeting, is everyone okay with those 4 people going now? Anyone opposed? Okay, we're going to go ahead and do that then. I'll call 2 names at once. I see, which one's come first?
I think these 2 go first.
Okay. Kathleen Treppa and Rachel Atchison. Please come forward, hit the back. You know the drill. Yep.
Yes, thank you. Kathleen Treppa, Ward 7, and I have read several times the city's explanation of what a community benefit agreement is with regard to the data center, and I have to admit I don't understand how this agreement, as described, intersects with the project approval and permitting process. So here's my confusion. Staff states on the project landing page that the community benefit agreement is a legally binding enforceable tool that allows communities to secure commitments of community interest. It further states, as we learn more about the projected utility use and begin to discuss other opportunities for community benefit, we can build more accountability measures into the agreement framework. So here's my confusion. For example, if there is a need to upgrade the city's water system beyond what is programmed in the CIP to accommodate Veris's projected 3 million gallons of water consumption per day, then that becomes a condition of approval for the project, in my previous experience. If the project can't be accommodated by the city's existing and already planned infrastructure, in my experience, only council can approve new capital projects to upgrade or change the design of the city's infrastructure. Staff does not have the authority to do that. Staff talks about accountability measures. Well, those should be built into conditions of approval for development. That's not a community benefit. That's just a standard practice for conditioning projects upon approval. So as I understand it, staff says it can administratively approve this project despite its $5 billion price tag if it meets development standards, but nothing more. But if the city's current infrastructure as designed cannot support this project, then how can staff administratively approve the project? In my mind, it then has to go through a higher level of review, so I don't understand this. In my experience, community benefit agreements are for granting concessions to a developer, exceptions from standards. And in exchange, the city negotiates additional benefits from the developer that the project wouldn't ordinarily require. So those exceptions to standards are, again, beyond staff's authority, as I understand this process here in Oregon. So if the proposed project needs those exceptions, then again, that project has to be brought through a higher level of review and approval. And as for actual community benefits, I've seen pools built. That's like a standard one. One creative city required an endowment be established to fund a community foundation to support community nonprofit services. So moving forward, I think it would be really helpful if staff would clarify that. With regard to the comments about the NDA, I've heard reference that there's a council policy. I haven't seen it. I don't know where it is. If somebody would please share where that policy is, that would be great. I personally am not opposed to the NDA in concept. My opposition, as I have stated, has always been to the breadth and scope of this NDA because it essentially hid the project from the public. And in my opinion, that's what was wrong. Thank you.
Rachel Atchison, and then Angelina McNabb.
Rachel Atchison, Ward 3. I will try not to raise my voice tonight, but I am no less angry about the position staff has put the city in regarding the development of hyperscale AI data centers. Last week, Tom Hoffert from the Chamber of Commerce derogatorily called hundreds of concerned citizens activists and described our worries about the future health and livability of our community as not the best of Salem. I feel like I just heard that a minute ago as well. I completely disagree, and I want to thank my neighbors for stepping up and voicing their valid opposition to this proposed Veris project. As I understand it, this Google-backed data center would be the most expensive development in the history of Marion County, and the third biggest in the entire state of Oregon. I've also previously heard a member of this council describe Salem as a city that thinks it's a small town. Well, we are now forced into negotiating with one of the richest corporations on the planet. We need some big city lawyers. I am begging you to secure outside counsel and outside evaluators at every step of this permitting process. We have seen Google underestimate or underreport their water use at their facility in the Dalles. We have already seen them change their story about the use of diesel generators and water use for this Mill Creek project. They simply cannot be trusted. Please continue to listen to your residents and get assistance in mitigating this impending damage to our home. Thank you.
All right, Angelina McNabb and Isabel Jones.
I don't even know what I'm going to say now. Sorry. I'm not going to yell at you guys either. I guess tonight, just what I want to say is about an hour ago, Officer Morrison, Sergeant Morrison, came and threatened to arrest me again. He just walked up to me. I'm sitting on my wagon, which is movable. It's got wheels on it. And he's like, "Are you camping?" And I'm sitting against the courthouse square building, watching my friend's stuff where her and her brother have been sleeping on that spot night after night for weeks. But Officer Morrison chose today, of all days, to just come accuse me of camping and putting gloves on like he was going to do so. He called for backup. Another officer showed up, and he put his gloves on too. Well, I put my Facebook Live on. And then I ended up giving him my ID because he said that's all I needed to do. Okay? I didn't get to go to court on June 25th or July 25th after that last arrest for using the toilet here at the library, because the day before I decided to go ahead and call and see if there was going to be a prosecution, and according to them, no. Okay, are we going to keep letting the cops arrest us for things they're not willing to let us fight in court? Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for me getting arrested over and over again, and every time I want to go into the courthouse to speak my side of the story, I get shut down? Why is that? Because I did announce to people earlier that I'm going to come to the city council meeting tonight. Who was trying so hard not to get me here? And what was funny is the first lady I ever saw something really dark spiritual in, her eyes turned black as she started to cackle. And this happened in the summer of 2014. What's funny is she showed up today right behind me. She followed me down to that spot. And after I asked her I wanted time alone, the cop shows up not long after that. Because I addressed to her what I saw in her eyes that day. So we are dealing with a very serious spiritual warfare that you guys, you don't even bother talking about while people get drugged and died on our streets out there. And you're all talking about all this other stuff. It's no wonder that the last two council meetings looked like the No Kings protests. Why? It's a distraction. Because you guys are still trying to hide the fact that Salem PD is out there arresting American citizens for petty stuff. I have a wagon with wheels on it. I am not going to be accused of camping anywhere that I decide where I'm going to stop and sit on it for a bit. So you guys might want to check that. Because Yeshua HaMashiach is not going to deal with this anymore. And maybe you guys ought to read the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible, because that's about to happen too.
Okay, Isabel Jones.
Hi, good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Isabel, and I reside under Ward 4, Deanna Gwen. Although this was not a part of tonight's agenda, I just wanted to speak on the data center proposal. I hope that you're all continuing to ask the hard questions when interacting with this company. I have a question that's been troubling me since our first public meeting, and that's why doesn't Verus change the data centers that are already operating in Oregon? They boast that they are more efficient than current data centers, but they want to push to create more data centers in new places instead of fixing what's already been built. Wouldn't this just continue to build upon the already projected 12% energy usage within our continent, and that's by 2028, and it's on the Verus website? I think that if they truly had a community's concerns as a priority, they wouldn't be inclined, or they would be more inclined to replace the outdated data centers, which they are projected to be outdated within the next 5 years. I also wanted to give you a sneak peek into my next public comment on this agenda because it's quite different than what I've already spoken about. And it's that I think there are a lot of alternatives that could benefit our community, our unions, our first responders, and the government on both a local and state level. I also wanted to take a moment to thank you because you guys have all inspired me to speak up for my community. And it's my third city council meeting of my entire life, and it's also the third time that I've spoken. So I want to thank all of you because I'm looking forward to coming to more meetings. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being willing to participate in your community. That's what it takes. So that's awesome. All right. Is there anyone else in the room who expected to speak under item 8 but didn't have a chance to sign up? Okay. We will move on then to the consent calendar. Councillor Gwynn.
I move approval of the consent calendar with the exception of item 3.2.1, which was pulled by Councillor Varney.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Matthews. Councillor, to the motion.
Our consent calendar tonight consists of minutes from our July 20th City Council work session, our minutes from the July 27th City Council meeting, and our August 3rd City Council minutes. And that concludes our consent calendar for tonight.
Great, thank you. Any comments? Councillor Varney, go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to ask the group about a clarification to the July 27th, 2026 City Council meeting minutes. On item 5.1, it said it was the presentation, and at the beginning it says, note, representatives of Verus will be present and available to address questions from City Council. And since they weren't here, I was wondering, it might be appropriate, I think it would be appropriate just to say that they weren't here, since this is part of a public record.
We normally wouldn't include those type of notes in minutes, but I don't have an objection if we want to add them. Council wants to go ahead and take a motion on that.
Did you want to make a motion? Sure.
I move that we add a note to clarify that representatives of Verus were not present at the presentation or available for questions.
Second.
Did you have something to add? I'm just curious if that changes because they were present for the presentation. They simply were not here for questions.
Madam Mayor, to my recollection, they did not attend the presentation. They left at the break before city staff made the presentation. So I think it's fair to say that they didn't attend the presentation, nor did they stay to answer our questions.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Question, comment? Will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Nishioka.
Aye.
Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Councillor Teigen.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. That motion passes. And now we'll move on to the consent calendar itself. When you're ready, Carl, would you please call the roll?
Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Councillor Tigan.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. All right. Moving on, we have no public hearings. We do have special orders of business tonight, 3 of them, in fact. And the first one is item 5.1. Who is presenting on that? Oh, great. Brandon? Yeah.
And I'll have comments after.
Interim Chief Ditto, please come forward. Button's already on there for you.
All right. Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, Madam City Manager. I will be with you just very briefly, just opening up for our friends that are starting up our Northeast United, which is an extension of our Bloomberg-Harvard collaborative work. If you all remember, it was back in April of last year when we started down this pathway for finding a collaborative way that we could tackle public safety issues within Salem. We were focused on 2 different areas initially. The data was pointing us to areas and pockets of the northeast of our community as well as our downtown. That was narrowed to our downtown core of the city due to a number of reasons. The more smaller constrained area of problems for public safety, the contiguous boundaries that bordered between downtown and Wallace Marine Park, and the strain that was felt with some in the community for when we lost our downtown enforcement team. So there was a number of items that happened in that time frame. So the one thing I want to say early is that as we started fielding some of the work with our the collaborative framework that was being built around Salem, we didn't wait. So City Manager Nambury wanted to make sure that we immediately started tackling problems within the community, and she immediately directed salary savings. So we were able to field a number of officers in the downtown core of our community. And even with the loss of our downtown enforcement team, we were still able to provide a presence in the downtown core to better public safety. The Bloomberg-Harvard framework helps you better understand issues, identify opportunities, and develop solutions, not only within the government structure and within public entities, but also within private networks, volunteerism, and a number of other service opportunities. What we saw in just looking at the data from January of this year to June of this year, compared with the previous year, we saw a 30% drop in crime in the downtown core. We also saw a 40% drop in crime in Wallace Marine Park area. We saw a number of collaborative efforts. The REACH team was born out of a lot of the work from our collaborations with Bloomberg-Harvard, as that was done adjacent to the time with Bloomberg-Harvard. We saw an HST expansion to 7-day-a-week coverage, so 2 more officers were added to that. An expansion of our clean team, partnerships with the Union Gospel Mission for cleaning crews, as well as supporting the already ongoing efforts for volunteerism that have been started by some in council to clean up not only the core of downtown, but other areas throughout the city. And then recently we saw another collaborative effort with ODOT, where we're able to come to agreements for furthering cleanup efforts, as well as enforcement efforts when state resources weren't adequate to participate in that. So with that, I want to open up the extension of that framework, and I'm going to invite up Alessandra, who is our Harvard Fellow that we competed for, and we're accepted to bring in Alessandra. And also at the same time, we were able to recruit for and hire a community engagement manager in Ashley Dunn here. And they're going to talk a little bit more about how the extension of our Bloomberg-Harvard work that we did in the downtown core is now extending further into the Northeast. Thanks.
Good night, everyone. Well, I'm Alessandra Rodriguez. I'm the Bloomberg Harvard Summer Fellow. I just completed my master in urban planning at the Harvard University. My background has been developing community-driven planning projects and initiatives, and I'm tonight with...
And I'm Ashley Dunn. I am our Community Engagement Manager with the City Manager's Office, and I have been in this community for over 30 years, also actively engaged in a lot of community work across multiple organizations.
So we are here tonight to present Northeast United, more information about this. Northeast United is a collaborative initiative, a cross-sector collaboration initiative to work with the community, with business owners, with the residents, with leaders of local organizations, different levels of government, to all together being on the table, bring different perspectives to address complex issues and challenges that the Northeast community is facing now. What we have defined as Northeast is the area in the limits of State Street to the north, Front Street to the east. So, as you know, the city participated of the Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative last year with Downtown. And what this framework, what we learned is about the cross-sector collaboration framework. This is an innovative process to reduce silos among organizations. These frameworks provide a workspace to collaborate all together among different parties, agencies that bring perspective, bring expertise, resources, and power to understand the problem, deconstruct, and move forward. What also Bloomberg has found and discovered among different cities and initiatives is that city halls cannot solve complex problems alone. City halls needs partners from the public, the private, nonprofit sector, and the broad community itself. And to move forward and build momentum, what Bloomberg has understood among different cities that have succeeded is that they follow these 4 points that we are using for understanding our entry point for Northeast is meaningful enough to create impact in the larger problem. Actionable, it means we have to do something that we can see make progress on. Nothing must be too big or too difficult to achieve. Acceptable, we have a diverse team members along the group on the table, so we can move forward. And provisional, we need to start from an action, from a point. This is not the end, this is just to jump off in bigger actions. So based on this learning that we had on Downtown, we have adapted this framework for the Northeast area. We increased our transparency, communication, and collaboration. We were really precise and intentional about our outreach and engagement with the community. We ran 2 surveys, one for leaders of organizations and one for the broader community. This survey was open among 4 weeks, in a window of 4 weeks, from July 7th to August 2nd. We also make accessible this survey in 4 different languages, English, Spanish, Swahili, Russian, and we transmit this information through community events that already exist and are developed by trusted community messengers, where the community learn more resources about what is happening in the area. We develop parks pop-ups to provide more information about the initiative and spread the survey. And we attend to neighborhood association meetings that already exist and the community attend. And we did door-to-door canvassing to targeted housing complexes. Also, part of the transparency and communication included to create a landing page in our webpage under the community section. You can find Northeast United. All the information that we're sharing today and that also we have shared with the community is here and will be updated as we move forward. The way that we shared the survey was through this flyer that was in English and in Spanish. In one side, we had the information about the survey, how to complete it, and in the other side, we have the list of all the events that we have developed to engage with the community. So we had 5 community events, 6 neighborhood associations meeting, we did 6 parks pop-ups, and we did door-to-door canvassing around 10 neighborhoods. We got 315 community survey responses, plus 24 answers from leaders of the organizations. In total, we got 339 responses for the community. And as you can see in this map, we were really intentional to engage with the community, specifically for the Hispanic community in the Northeast area. We talked with them in Spanish in all these different events. We were in different parks, in River Road Park, in Gear Park, McKay Park, and Highland Park also. We did the door-to-door canvassing covering all this area.
All right, so I get to talk to you guys this evening about what we learned in all of this work and engaging with community. With our survey, we made a qualitative survey which was designed to get direct verbal feedback on what were the major concerns for residents and neighbors across Salem, but specifically looking into Northeast Salem. We wanted to hear from Northeast residents specifically about what was most concerning to them, and what we found from our initial analysis of our survey data was about 76% or 3/4 of the respondents that we received responses from were either working or living in Northeast Salem. So that was very significant for us because the feedback that we learned were from the people who were closest to experiencing the problem. We have done an initial breakdown and analysis of the survey, but I do want to make it note that the analysis of the data and what we're learning is ongoing. So just to give you guys a brief glance of what we learned, what we found was that when looking across the qualitative data, several key areas were continuing to show up across resident concerns. We have a pie chart here that gives a breakdown of some of the major themes in which we saw that were concerning to our constituents, with the leading being public health. So about 23.8% of our survey respondents had a concern that revolved or fell under the category of public health. We saw some additional ideas, so public safety, upkeep and appearance, housing, youth and education services. These were some of the key common threads that we saw over and over for concerns of Northeast residents. This next slide gives us a little bit more of a breakdown under what some of the things that we were seeing in the data. So for example, in the slide, you see the group of 60, and then there's a line, and then underneath that it shows community. That first grouping at the top that says group of 60, those were all seen across the board within our specific stakeholder survey. So for all of the organizations and nonprofits and businesses that participated in our stakeholder survey, some key concerns, for example, under, say, public safety, included fentanyl trade at Sunnyview and Fisher, gang activity and gun violence in hotspots, feeling unsafe, traffic on Lancaster. But as you go down beneath that under community, what we saw was that residents also stated those concerns with the addition of the topics that are lined up underneath that dotted line. So in example, for public health, we saw that residents were also concerned about trash, garbage, and sanitation issues that was separate from the stakeholder data. What we used that data for, so as Alessandra mentioned, we did run 2 separate surveys congruently. The first survey was designed with just stakeholders, so we put together a list of 60 stakeholders that was made up of nonprofits, residents, business owners, city leaders, county leaders, and service providers within the Northeast sector. We used that data to design a specific and targeted group of 30. That group of 30 is really strategic for the Bloomberg Harvard framework because that is the brain trust that is used to deconstruct complex social issues and identify entry points that are grounded in community service and community action. We held our first community kickoff meeting for the group of 30, July 29th at Chemeketa at their agricultural building, and we saw that not only were our community members excited about this work, but many of them were already doing great work that was close to the issues that mattered most, both in the community survey and the stakeholder survey. We also, during the kickoff session, got a chance to get initial kind of thoughts, perceptions, and opinions on about where should we start? What is most concerning about where we want to begin to build this work? Again, this is our kickoff meeting, so we have plans to continue to move forward as this group of 30 continues to build out, but we had some great feedback and participation, including words from City Manager Nambury. This last slide, or close to last slide, will show some of the organizations that were present and part of our kickoff meeting and in our survey for the stakeholders of 60. We had organizations such as Valor Mentoring, Seabell, Church at the Park, Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance, Casa de la Cultura, Marion County Mental Health, the Boys and Girls Club, the Fran Center, and different representatives from Salem Kaiser School District. So we tried to take a well-rounded cross-section of the organizations, businesses, and nonprofits doing work right here in our community. With this slide, we want to talk about some of the next steps. So again, whenever addressing any complex social issue, it takes a collaborative of many stakeholders deconstructing what is it that we want to accomplish and how are we going to go about doing it. After doing our kickoff meeting, we have planned to update our landing page. Our landing page will be where we share out the in-depth analysis, including our methodology, our breakdown of what we learned, and potential next steps and recommendations, as well as the more specific breakdown of the data that we learned. All of that will be posted to our Northeast United landing site, so that way community members and council, you guys can all stay up to date on what is happening with the great work that we're doing. We will also be sharing out who is making up this group of 30 and who is actually participating as group members. And we will be highlighting and addressing and updating members of the community on key concerns that rose from the kickoff meeting, as well as our meeting cadence. So moving forward, we will have that continual update on our Northeast United landing page for residents to stay up to date with the work. And then we will continue to focus on having ongoing meetings that really take the time to deconstruct the problem. I think it's really important that as we do this work, we have to have a shared understanding of what is it that we want to do? What are we trying to move the needle in? And how do we plan to do that moving forward as a group? The last slide that you see before you, this is kind of a breakdown and a timeline for this project. As you can see, we started this project in June, where we were coming and doing our stakeholder analysis, our survey, and our engagement, and we held our kickoff meeting. Over the next several months, we will be putting together a core group of 7, which will be kind of our work engine for this group to do some of the more tedious tasks in between our larger group meetings. And then we will also be holding subcommittee meetings of, around 5 to 6, depending around each topic that was highlighted in the community survey. That way we can make sure that we're taking the time to really get a thorough understanding of not only who is doing what, but how we're doing the work, and then how are we going to really be intentional about moving this work forward so that our community sees meaningful progress and change right here in our community. So you can expect to kind of see over the next several months leading into 2027 that the first half of the year from June to December is deconstructing the problems about what do we want to focus on. And then beginning in the second half of the year, so from January into 2027, we will then be looking to make entry points to move that work forward. So moving from deconstruction of the problem to solutions and actions moving forward and how we want to address that. And on that, I will go ahead and give you the floor, and thank you for giving us time to share about what we've been doing.
Thank you, Ashley and Alessandra. This is quite exciting, and this is a perfect example of when there is a community engagement with some of the city's process. I have seen this evolve from nothing to this in like less than 3 months. So I just want to say that. So when we were selected for the Bloomberg Harvard work, and Mayor Hoy, thank you for kind of entering into that. And then so when we got selected for that, we did, and we were picked for the collaboration track. And the focus at that time was based on the data. The number one area that we knew we needed to focus was downtown, and the second was Northeast. So we started the collaboration track with the 30 people in the downtown area. So when we were attending, I think several community members actually participated in the public testimony to talk about why is the focus in downtown when we also have the need in the Northeast. So I try to attend many of the neighborhood association meetings, and that was also the topic at the neighborhood association meeting, and a question to me about why are we not focusing on the northeast, right? So, and then I know through the council conversations, Councilor Brown brought up the need to be kind of doing more work in the northeast. So that's kind of what it resulted into, us understanding that, no, we need to, we're learning a lot through the Bloomberg Harvard work. We did, we have the framework, so it's, now we want to take the framework and apply to Northeast, right? So that's kind of how this evolved. But I want to thank staff for their remarkable work. What I get to see is a lot of behind the scenes, like the brainstorming sessions that you have gone through over the past few months. Assistant City Manager Courtney Knox-Bush is not here, but Courtney and Interim Chief Ditto have been instrumental in bringing this work forward. And I want to acknowledge both of you, Ashley and Alessandra. And if you have had the opportunity to attend some of these meetings where Ashley and Alessandra were presenting, it's actually pretty inspiring when you see the energy and the enthusiasm they bring to this work. But the other bigger piece of it, I attended the meeting with the Northeast United kickoff on July 29th, and if you see the community members and our stakeholders and the nonprofits that have come together in their busy schedule, they have given us time. And that synergy that we are trying to develop through the process, that is actually pretty incredible to witness it. And personally, I'm very excited about the work that we can do on this, and I already see that there is a path forward for some changes in that area. So thank you both for your work.
Anyone else? Councilor Nordyke.
Thank you. I just wanted to express my full support for this project. Northeast Salem has gotten the short end of the stick for a long time on a variety of different ways of looking at how you gauge resource, access to power, all the opportunities that come with being a part of this city. So I'm so pleased to see that this work is being done and that you are doing outreach in so many different ways to so many different groups in so many different languages, because otherwise you will not have good data. So I commend you for the depth and breadth of your outreach work to ensure that our Northeast voices are heard. I've spent a lot of time in Northeast Salem on the campaign trail this past cycle. I was born and raised in South Salem, so spending time in Northeast Salem on foot, going from neighborhood to neighborhood, and I was struck by how many generations are living together. Folks who are working hard, multiple generations of people who are working, sending their kids to school, opening their own business in Northeast Salem. So they are important economic engines to our community. They're not just consumers, they're not just residents, they're also business owners, teachers, educators, community leaders, and so on. And to see their voices be a part of this conversation means a lot. I was very interested to see how much of this has to do with public health, that was the top concern. Although it's not exactly a surprise given what I learned from talking with residents myself, I just want to highlight that mental health has come up multiple times in the survey results. And so even though the city itself does not provide mental health services, this is a powerful reminder of how essential mental health outreach services are, outpatient beds, inpatient beds, and so on are to serving our entire community. So it just makes our relationships with the partners who do provide mental health services all that much more important. Thank you.
Councilor Tigan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Alessandra and Ashley, thank you so much for your work. It's really exciting to see the result after being briefed at the outset. And I'll admit that the page of your presentation that I have that's challenging to me the most is the one where you explain all the problems. And I think there's some part of me that wants to quibble a little bit with the top lines of like how you grouped them together. But to me, that ends up being a lot less important than just the details that you heard from the community of what falls under there. And I think in the past, when we've received survey results from like DHM and stuff like that, we get sort of just little hints of what people's concerns are. And so the fact that you took the time to talk to 315 people and get their responses gives us a lot more to go on. My question / encouragement for the community as well is I really do like towards the start of this presentation when you talk about the approach where the problem solving needs to be meaningful, actionable, acceptable, and provisional. I think that all of the things, these top line ideas, public safety, housing, unhoused population, public health, those aren't going to meet that test. And so I'm really looking forward to the work of the group of 30 and the group of 7 to figure out which post-it note, so to speak, that they decide to focus on, that they actually can use those for that framework in order to solve those problems. Because I think you need to start somewhere and grow, not start somewhere high and hope it trickles down. Like, that's not going to work. And so I really appreciate this problem-solving activity. I take this result earnestly and would want to see more of the data from the survey, and just really commend your approach. So thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Brown.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Terrific job, team. I appreciate you, especially as we love on those who live in the Northeast. So thank you, especially the visionary for this project. Thank you, Madam City Manager, and to your entire leadership team. Very much appreciate it. So I just have a couple of questions, and some of these we can probably talk out together. So I'm not gonna drill you per se. I'm going to save that for the fire department. So the first question I have is the selection process. If you could share with us and the folks in the room and folks watching at home, how did you get to your folks of 30, and then how do you go from your folks of 30 to your group of 7?
Great question. Thank you, Councilor Brown. Bloomberg Harvard gives a specific framework even in the selection process. So it has 3 areas of focusing when we're looking at community stakeholders of who needs to be at the table to begin to really take a thorough look at how we plan to deconstruct problems that we learn about. The first is that we have to have what they call authorizers. That is people who have the ability to not only hear about a situation, but authorize its going forward in solution and problem solving as we deconstruct what we want to do. So we had to take a look at who has the ability to authorize the work around the concerns that we're seeing. We also had to have what they call operators. So those are the people who are actually doing the work and have the operational capacity that once we decide upon an entry point, that they can take that idea into a living, breathing, actionable step. Right? And then finally, we have what they call arbiters. So these are the people who might not necessarily agree with all of the things the group says. These are the folks that are going to challenge our perspectives and cause us to think outside the box for not only how we're describing the problems that we're seeing, but how we develop and derive solutions for our next steps moving forward. With Bloomberg, we had to basically categorize each one of the individuals that we had considered for this group and compare them to those criteria, and we chose people who had multiple identities in those. So for example, there's multiple organizations that could function as authorizers, while some are also authorizers and authorizers and operators, where there are some that are operators and arbiters. So we tried to make sure that when we were taking a look at the selection process that we first met those 3 criteria, and then we also utilized the demographics that make up Northeast Salem. It was really important that the people who are showing up to do this work were not folks who were disconnected from the community. We wanted to choose organizations and leaders who reflected not only the ethnic demographic, but the demographics in general that we saw of who makes up Northeast Salem and people who live and work in Northeast Salem. It's really important that as we're beginning to unpack this work, that it was truly reflected by those who are most impacted by it. So those were two of the main criteria that we utilized in how we selected the initial stakeholder group of 60. When it came to looking at the group of 30, what we did is after surveying that initial stakeholder group of 60, we compiled that to begin to say what is most pressing to our operators, arbiters, and authorizers in Northeast Salem. And based on some of the most pressing key issues from that early data collection that we received, we then begin to also regroup those same groups of 60 into a group of 30 using those same criteria. So we used the framework that was given to us by Bloomberg Harvard, as well as our personal knowledge of being, for myself, for example, being a long-term Salem resident. I grew up in Northeast Salem. I'm a North Salem graduate. I've been here for quite some time, and I do a lot of community work also. So using that local knowledge along with the knowledge of partners that we were able to speak to, survey about, one of the questions, I should say, was asking stakeholders who should be invited to the table to do this work. And we took that feedback from our group of 60 to utilize that in really framing and creating a meaningful work group of 30. I think you also asked the question of how we determine the group of 7. The group of 7 is still being formed right now, so we don't have a group assembled yet, but we want to use that same process. Who is closest to the concerns that are mentioned? So as this work group begins to deconstruct the concerns, what we will do is look at what is most pressing and who are going to meet those roles of authorizer, of operator and arbiter, and to begin to create a work group that meets those terms so that we can make sure that we have the right people doing some of the work as the kind of engine of the group.
Mm-hmm. Madam Mayor, follow up. Thank you. The next question is in regards to the selection process or who sits on it. So obviously, we have a lot of folks that are unsheltered. And I know there are some that have chosen housing, right? So they want to get off the streets. Is there someone that has a lived experience that used to be homeless or unsheltered that's a part of the 30? Like, do we have someone? And the reason I ask is because we're discussing public health, and there's a couple of your, I'll call them Post-its. A couple of them deal with, camp removals, right? And so I know we got the police as one of the 30, but do we have someone that has that lived experience that also can be a part of the 30?
Again, great question, thank you. What we found was that when we looked at our group of 30, we really wanted to lean into trusted messengers. So for example, as part of that group of 30, you will see that Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance is on that team. They have multiple people within their organization who come with lived experience with being unsheltered. So we're leaning on their expertise, their knowledge, and what they bring to this table that is specific to that section of the community. So leaning on those trusted organizations and trusted messengers is how we intend to make up for the fact that we can't have everyone at the beginning of onset, meaning 30 is a very select group. But the idea is that our group of 30 is reflective of key concerns and the people who have the closest experience with those concerns. So Mid-Willamette Valley does have people with lived experience who work within their organization who are able to inform our perspective as we deconstruct concerns like housing and camping within Northeast Salem.
Got it. And in your selection of 30, my last question, I promise. In your selection of 30, there's 29 listed. Who gets the last spot? Like, is that rock, paper, scissors? You get the last spot. Who gets it?
Oh, great. Do you want to answer? There you go.
Where you said like a school Salem Kaiser representative, there was a split into according with the high schools. So that's why it's compiling one.
Oh, so Salem Kaiser gets 2 spots?
They have so what we wanted to do, for example, to be specific to the ethnic makeup within Northeast Salem. We wanted a representative for our Asian Pacific Island population. Kathleen Jonathan is a community resource specialist with Salem Kaiser School District. She is one of those Salem Kaiser employees who we've invited to this work. The other is Lennon Espitia, who is a graduation coach out of North Salem High School, who's a long-term resident with lived experience, both with things like immigration, but also having lived experience of having a low socioeconomic identity. So it was very important that those lived experiences were present. And Salem Kaiser, we just grouped into even though we have two representatives in that group.
Got it. I want to say thank you. Thank you for being inclusive to make sure that we have voices from all corners. And if you walk through Northeast, or as we live in Northeast, you'll get a little bit of everything, right? You get a little bit of everything because it's very diverse. And you mentioned just making sure that you had a complete representation of the group to match the, the 30. Do we have someone that's also speaking on behalf of children or families that have someone that has a disability? Like, is there someone in the 30 that is in a wheelchair? And you don't have to answer that now, but see where my mind is going? Because I want to make sure that we have checked all the boxes, not out of routine, but just making sure that we're being inclusive to have folks that may have different learning challenges or physical disabilities, make sure that they have a seat at the table too. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Matthews.
I just wanted to commend you on the number of survey results you got back. I think for most of us, we know that that's probably one of the hardest things in Salem is to get messaging out, to get actually people to engage and take a survey. And I mean, even when we look at our DHM survey, that's only a 400-person survey, and that covers the entire city. So for you to take a much smaller section of the city and still get 315 results, that's a more valid survey in that area than I would have assumed we were going to get. So thank you very much for that. I think that was excellent.
Are there more questions? Because I do want to thank Alessandra for her work.
Well, let me go first then,
Okay.
if you would. Excuse me, City Manager. But this moment makes my heart so full. It's hard for me not to become emotional about it, frankly, because the work with the Bloomberg Harvard City Leaderships Initiative goes back before my term as mayor began. And what they have brought to Salem is really incredible. And they've paid for every bit of it for us. And it's beautiful. And to Interim Chief Ditto and to Courtney Knox Bush for carrying the ball with this plan for downtown Salem to go through this process in downtown and sort of make sure that it's going to work, and it's doing that. And then it was in April, I believe, Alessandra, that I met you in Cambridge. And I could not wait for you to get to town. When did you come to town?
I came in April, my first time, for a tour visit, and then I came in June 15. I started June 15.
And when's your last day here?
August 21st.
August 21st. Well, my heart's a little bit sad about that, but to see then that Ashley was brought on board just lit up my life, and to see the two of you in the center space in that floor of the SAFE building, building this plan, this blueprint from downtown and finding a way to build it to meet the needs in Northeast Salem has just been something to watch. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like a Santa's workshop or something to see the two of you like building spreadsheets and, calling people, and your willingness to reach out one-on-one. You didn't even look sideways when I said I have a woman who has no computer. She wants to take the survey, and you were willing to do that. So I just appreciate the level of your engagement and the heart that you have and that you're bringing into this work. And I'm just really excited for what's to come. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Alessandra, thank you so much for all your work. And if people don't know how this works out, like, so we applied for a Harvard Fellow, and then we have to talk about what the scope of the project is. So we did pick Northeast as a scope. And so then they give us like 3 candidates and 3 students or graduates. So we picked Alessandra to be our number 1 pick, and then they take that to the students and they ask them to pick. So Alessandra chose us, and she wanted to come to Salem and do the work. So I know your last day is August 21st, but she has become like one of the team members in the city manager's office. We will miss you, but thank you so much for all your work. And 8 p.m. sometimes she's in that office doing the work. And I don't think she behaved or she did anything like an intern. She completely owned it. She owned the process. I'm so thankful and grateful for the work that you did, Alessandra. I know Interim Chief Ditto wants to say do you want to say a quick word about Alessandra?
Sorry, we're showering you with a lot. I'll just briefly echo that. For those who don't know, Alessandra is a Fulbright scholar from Peru, and she is going to go back and carry all her education and knowledge, a master's degree as well, and bring it back to Peru to better her community after this work that she's been able to field here in Salem in the field, and all the work that she's done with both Harvard and MIT. So we're incredibly grateful for the work that she's going to go back and do in Peru, because they're in good hands bringing us Alessandra back. So I just want to thank you for that.
Alessandra, I know you shared what you're going to do and what you learned from this experience. If you can take like a minute to talk about what your experience has been with the city.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for your good approach, for your openness to hear more about me and the work that we have done really hard. I have been here 8 weeks, and yeah, when we have been in a meeting and people ask, how long have you been here? I just went like few weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. I really like Salem. I love the nature that you have around. I love the community that you have and the community that is proud. I also appreciate your openness to connect with the Hispanic community. That was really happy when I had the interview with Chief Ditto and with Courtney, and they asked me, like, you will be working with Hispanic community, speaking Spanish, basically my maternal language, and that was really interesting for me. I have learned a lot about the community. I really appreciate the work that you do with the neighborhood associations and how you hear the community here through the council meetings. This is not like the common process in my country and in Latin America, like to be open to hear the public, the questions that we have, the claims that the residents we have. And I really love that. I learned a lot about not just the city staff, their passion, their work, and how hard they are working to move forward, understanding the problem to the actions, but also your work here, like volunteering and standing long time here to listen to the community. So I'm really thank you and thankful to learn a lot about in these almost 10 weeks, and I hope to apply all these good things that I have learned from the public sector to what is in my hands and the next steps for my life. Thank you.
And I'm going to say something I have absolutely no power in what I'm about to say. But if you're ever looking for a job, there's someone that could possibly hire you to work in the city. You know, I know somebody. So again, thank you for being here and just, being in this space with Chief Ditto and of course with Manager Dunn and being with this team. It's a beautiful reflection. And although you're leaving in a week and a half, we know, especially Councilor Vang and I, we know the work will continue. So thank you.
Are you both leaving the meeting now, or are you going to hang out to the end? I just want to get a picture with you before you go, okay? Thank you. Great job. Wow, good stuff. Now we get to, yeah. Did you have something?
No.
Okay.
My computer just decided to update right now, so no, I don't have anything.
Okay. We will move on to item 5.2. Chief Gerboth, please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is David Gerboth. I have the honor of serving as Fire Chief. I'm joined tonight by members of our command staff. And I want to thank you for having us tonight to give this informational report on the first year of ambulance service return to the Salem Fire Department. And before we get into tonight's presentation, I want to begin by recognizing the people that made this possible. The city made a significant decision to direct the fire department for ambulance transport and build a system that we believed would provide more reliable service to our community. And that decision required a tremendous amount of trust from the council, trust from city leadership, and ultimately, trust from the community we serve. And we understood the responsibility that came with that trust. And while the fire department may be the most visible part of this system, this was never just a fire department effort. This was truly an all-city effort. Our budget and finance teams helped build the financial framework. Human resources helped us recruit and onboard an entirely new workforce. Fleet helped put up our ambulances and keep them on the street. Facilities has helped our infrastructure, and IT, payroll, procurement, legal, and many other throughout the city contributed to getting this system operational and making it successful. I do want to recognize the members of the Salem Fire Department. Building a new ambulance system while continuing to respond to everyday emergencies in this community required an extraordinary effort, flexibility, and commitment. Our members embraced the responsibility, adapted to system changes, and made sure they put the needs of the community first. And what we're presenting tonight is a result of a collective effort across the entire city organization. So before we talk about our response times and transports or financial performance, I want to say thank you to the council, to the trust that you've put in us, your support, to city leadership and our partner departments that help us build this system, and to our community for placing their confidence in us, and especially to the personnel that who serve this community every day. And 1 year later, I believe the results demonstrated that trust was well placed. So as we begin tonight, we're going to go over 4 areas. We're going to go over background, the system volume and performance, our financial performance, and then future considerations. And as background, on July 1st of 2025, we began operations with 60 new EMS employees, 52 paramedics and EMTs, and 8 support staff. And this was an extraordinary effort to acquire new work staff, to deploy equipment, the training that went into it. This was the largest number of employees ever hired at one time by the city of Salem. And so I want to let you know, we weren't simply changing ambulance providers, but we were building a municipal EMS transport system. Important to note is that the transport system operates through an enterprise fund, and that is funded through our service delivery reimbursements. And the fund is not just simply ambulances, it's broader than that. Within our enterprise fund, we certainly are supporting the system, our new EMS division headquarters, dispatching costs, IT, human resources, fleet technicians, and the fee for service, and I'll talk about that as we move forward. So our system and performance. When we went in, we had projections. We projected annual anticipated transports of 54 a day. Through the first year of our service, we're a little above 55, so we're certainly meeting those anticipated and transported over 20,000 times in the city in the first year. Our response compliance. Volume is certainly only part of the story, but the most important is, are we providing the service to the community and reliable service to the community? The county oversees the ambulance service areas, and we sit obviously in 2 counties, both Marion and Polk, with the goal of our response to be in the a goal of 90% within the times that are allowed. Both in Marion County and Polk County, we're exceeding that 90% and providing that reliable service. One of the areas is the fundamental change is predictable ambulance capacity. And so when we look at our unit hours prior to July of 2025, our unit hours fluctuated considerably. We had a contract with a private provider that was required to provide 1,030 hours a week. As we can see from that chart, it was all over the map, certainly down to sometimes half of what was required. So since that time and taking over the system, we've raised and provided more ambulance hours than have ever been provided into the system. And we're doing it consistently. We don't have fluctuations. We maintain constant staffing, and so that we have that available every single day. Level 0 is one of the biggest concerns we have within ambulance services, and that's a period where no ambulances are immediately available in the system. And when we look at the chart previous to us, there were times we were over 200 hours a month, 391 minutes a day, where there was no ambulances available in our system. And over the first year, we've averaged less than 24 minutes a day. And what's important about that is certainly we don't want to ever be in that, but those move in and out for a couple minutes a day. We do not have long sustained times. There are external factors that we work with. Certainly we have delays. We're on one of the busiest emergency rooms on the West Coast, and they get inundated, and so we have offload delays that sometimes impact those, but we're working very closely with Salem Health to make sure that we mitigate those. But our ambulance availability is certainly the reason of why we've got to bring that down. And when we look at reliable access to ambulances, we certainly have that more than we've had previously. Another metric of our system health is the use of mutual aid and the reliance on our neighboring jurisdictions. Our one-year average shows that we're averaging 27 mutual aid calls per month, so less than once a month are we using one of our partner agencies. And certainly, when we reduce the dependence on our agencies, their resources are available for their communities. And so there was times we were up well over 500 calls per month and seen that reduce considerably. And certainly we still have mutual aid agreements. We utilize those. It is a regional partnership that's critical to enhance our system. However, it doesn't substitute for insufficient capacity. And so we've certainly seen a huge reduction there. Before I get into our fiscal performance, I will stop if there's any questions about performance. I can wait till the end, but if there's any questions now, I'll certainly be happy to answer any.
Councillor Varney, go ahead. Thank you very much, and thanks so far for the presentation. It's great to hear the updates after the first year. I had a couple of questions, if I go back a couple of slides here, on the ambulance service update where you were referencing response compliance, Marion County 91.1% and Polk County 91.8%. You mentioned that we are providing that reliable service. By we, are you including, is that just us, or are you talking about Marion and Polk and all of you together?
Yeah, that's our system that we oversee. There may be times that we have a mutual aid company that comes in. Those times are counted. However, as I mentioned, it's less than once a day. So that is really the Salem Fire Department that's providing that service.
Okay, I just was.
That's. I think what are you asking me in the entire county?
I don't know. I just didn't understand when you said we, if it was just us that was doing that 91% compliance rate, whatever, or all of us together as a group in a county.
Yeah, it is us. Both counties are divided into ambulance service areas, and so Salem, the city of Salem, is designated to have 2 ambulance service areas, one in Polk and one in Marion County. Those measurements are specific to the Salem ambulance areas. There are other areas, such as Kaiser has their own ambulance service area. Their metrics are different. This is just for ours.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned areas, because I do have a question about West Salem. I've been spending a bit of time up in the area, up at the upper end of Orchard Heights and Glen Creek, up on 35th, 34th lately. And do we respond up there outside of the city limits? Or, I mean, is that our response area?
Yeah, so we respond to all throughout the city of Salem, as well as we have a contracted fire district. I'm sure we're all aware that we have 49 miles of the city of Salem, as well as 30 miles of a contracted fire district, that's Salem Suburban Fire Protection District. That fire protection district includes areas in South Salem as well as West Salem, and so we cover those with our ambulances as well.
Okay, so you go all the way up into the hills, even though it's past the city limits?
Yep, we go up until the Spring Valley Fire Protection District or over to the Dallas and Polk County.
Okay, a couple of folks were asking me, and I saw the county sheriff, Polk County Sheriff over there, and I just thought I'd ask, so thank you.
We provide fire services in those areas as well.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Yeah, Councillor Tigan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Chief. So I just wanted to see if there was a number when we say response compliance, and that's by time. 90% is the goal, and what's that response time?
So it depends on the areas of the city.
Okay, that's what you were just saying,
yeah,
so it's more nuanced.
Life, we go in urban and suburban, and then rural. We don't have any rural, but we have urban and suburban. For urban areas, we have to have advanced life support on scene in 8 minutes, and then our suburban is 12 minutes.
Thank you.
Councillor Matthews.
So with the amount of time that we're at level 0, which is obviously far better than what has been historically, which is down to that 23-minute mark, what is, I mean, obviously I know the target, I'm sure, is to be at level 0 never, right? 0.
Correct.
Like anything, we also live in the real world, and there has to be some sort of basis of, we know we're going to hit that at some point. So what is our target goal that we're trying to get down to? Are we hitting that right now, or is there a lower goal?
Well, I think our target goal is 0, right? I mean, we're close. I think the important point of that when we get to that level 0 is that we do not have sustained periods. We may go in for 2 minutes and then we're right back out in 3 minutes. So it hasn't jeopardized service delivery. We haven't gotten a call during that time. If we do, we certainly have mutual aid that can do that, but oftentimes we're even going to be faster when we get back into having units available. It's, you know, with having such a busy emergency room, we'll see. It's not uncommon to see multiple ambulances that are waiting for offload, because it's not just Salem Fire Department, it's the entire region. And so we'll see 10 ambulances waiting at the ambulance to offload, and then we come available very quickly. So it's not an overall concern. We want to definitely eliminate it, and we're working with Salem Health to certainly do that.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. I will move to our fiscal performance. So as I mentioned, we are in a enterprise fund, and so we want to make sure that we do not jeopardize or utilize the general fund when supporting our services, and we certainly have not done that. And so we have this first fiscal year, we used approximately 81% of our materials budget and approximately 81% of our personnel budget. I'm sorry, 70% of our materials and 81% of our personnel budget. When we look at the numbers, and this is where I'll show you the payer mix, but when we look at generation and how much that we brought in, you know, a significant amount. We have write-offs of $29 million, and so when I go to the payer mix, and I'll explain that, but we have capitated rates that are within the system, and this is very common in ambulance systems, that we have gross charges, but then our net charges are different in our accounts receivable, and so we'll go to that. We are in a sustainable position. So when you look at our payer mix, also very close to what we predicted, but when we're at 78% in Medicare and Medicaid, those are federal programs, and so they do have capitated rates, and so they do not pay the rates that we charge for our traditional ambulance bills. We're at the mercy of what the federal government is going to reimburse, and so that's why we see such a difference between gross charges and net charges. As we look on our gross charges, $54 million, averaging $4.6 million. In our net collections in the first fiscal year, were over $10 million. We have to remember that the first 4 months, we did not receive any reimbursements whatsoever. It's just the medical system that it is and the delay that we have in reimbursements. And that's why we work on the budgeting and making sure that we look at our accounts receivable, which are considerable. Our personnel expenses and materials and services have been within our budgetary allocations. As we look at the EMS fund itself, and we wanted to make sure that we were not a financial liability on the general fund, but as we look, we're not only not taking general fund money, we're actually enhancing the general fund. So as we go down and we look at our reimbursement to other city services, whether it's HR, fleet, IT, we have an indirect cost allocation plan, often referred to as ICAP, that pays for those services. In the last fiscal year, we were over 146,000. It'll be going up in 27. We have debt service, our headquarters. One thing that is very important is our dispatching costs. So we paid over $1 million in dispatching costs. That is a general fund relief, direct fund relief. When we had a private ambulance service, they never paid any of that. They paid $0. And so that was an immediate $1 million increase that offset the general fund. Next year will be over $2 million. You had a question, sir?
You must have a crystal ball.
Oh, I thought I saw you raising your hand.
No. I didn't want to interrupt anything, so I didn't have a question. You're good.
Oh, okay. I'll continue. So I don't want to gloss over this because I think this is a great part of the news is that we are working within an enterprise fund, and we've offset the general fund by well over $1 million, $1.5 million this year. So I think that is incredible news.
That is, Chief. Way to go.
Forward.
And Councillor Tigan.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you, Chief, just explain the dispatch costs? Why are those a relief to the general fund and not to like a payment from this enterprise to the dispatch center cost center?
Right. So, well, we are paying into the dispatch center. We never before had that with a private company. When we look at our dispatch center, it is also an enterprise fund. However, 42% of that cost is general fund expenditures that come from the city. So we do have 32 agencies. Those agencies all pay into it, but 42% of it comes from both police and fire to help support that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. So before the city took over the EMS, the general fund was actually paying for the $1 million every year for the dispatch.
Yeah, Councillor Matthews.
You mentioned that obviously just because of the way the billing cycle works, when we started the ambulance service, we didn't immediately start getting paid. You have that kind of billing cycle you have to wait for the first few months. So the numbers we're looking at, do those not account for? So obviously because of that, we kind of have this long-term 3-month cycle that you're always kind of like billing today for what we're going to get paid for in 3 months. And so do we have 1 full year of actual payment at this point, or are these numbers based on essentially 9 months of payment, or have we actually pro forma'd those and pulled those, our projected numbers for 3 months from now into these numbers?
Not yet, yeah. So we have a mixture of what we've received and accounts receivable up to June 30th. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll explain a little bit more, and okay. I think it might. So, well, I'll just say that's where we are right now with accounts receivable. And the next slide is we also participate in the Center for Medicare and Medicaid system, ground emergency management transport funds. Outside of those receivables is this month we expect approximately $1.5 million come back to us for ground emergency medical transport. So that is not in the numbers that we have shown up there. So that will be an additional. Yes, sir.
Yes, Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And Chief, that's where my question was coming in at. So when you say we have not yet received it, the goal is to receive that within the fiscal year. That's the hope, rather.
It's a hope, I would say. Yeah. We are at the mercy of Oregon Health Authority that processes
right.
this.
And let's say we don't get it by the end of the fiscal year. What do we do? Like, where do we make up that difference?
So we have ongoing collections. This is only one program. We have ongoing collections right now. We're bringing in a little over $1.2 million a month in collections, and then this is just an augment to that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm going to move on a little bit from finance and move forward unless there's any other questions on specific financial. All right. I'm going to talk about moving forward. I'm going to talk about two programs that we're doing right now. One was with Croisan Fire District and Medic 38. And so one of the things we wanted to do when we took over this system is certainly we emphasized our 911 response. We wanted to make sure that if somebody was in an emergency, we were getting an ambulance there, and we've seen that reflective of our response times and our availability. For our ambulance service areas, we also have first right of refusal to interfacility transfers. And what that means is that we may have a patient at Salem Health that has some ailment that is better treated in Portland. And so they will call us, we can provide an ambulance, we'll drive them up to Portland and back, and oftentimes that could be a 4-hour turnaround, and that's 4 hours where an ambulance is not available within the system. We chose to make sure that our 911 system is whole first, and that we deferred many of those out-of-town transfers to our partners. And so when we look, Croisan Fire District, and I'll explain why, has most of the out-of-town transfers. Marion County, we're certainly doing them, but we've tried to defer most of those to make sure that we have a 911 system that is first going to deliver emergency service. And so we partnered, so we know when we called our partners to take those interfacility transports, the service was being delivered to our community. However, we did not generate any revenue on that, and so it's lost revenue. And so we entered into a pilot program with Croisan Fire District that they get first right of refusal into to take our interfacility transports, as well as pick up any surge 911 calls within our system, and that we would have a revenue share for that ability for them to be first. And so over that time in the first quarter, the service impact, we had a total revenue of $57,000. Our revenue share came back at $11,000. And if we would have staffed an ambulance 10 hours a day, just for 10 hours a day, our cost would have been $115,000. So we were able to collect that. We were able to get that service. That was only the first less than a quarter. It was the first quarter, but we started in mid-January. Our next quarter is going to be more significant, but we are able to generate revenue, capture revenue, that is less than we would pay to be able to do that and staff another unit.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Chief, so on that subject, just help my own thinking. When it comes to the out-of-area transfers, let's say we have a fire in the Hayesville corner, right? And we respond, and let's say that person needs to go to Portland, and with the deal, Kaiser take that person and not us, and they would reimburse us, correct?
Yes. I guess I would say first, we don't do direct transport, so this might be a detail, but if we did have a fire, we would, and it's an emergent medical need, we would transport to Salem Health. Salem Health makes a decision if they would need to be transferred, and one example in that would be Burn Center in Portland. They might be flown if it's serious, but if not, maybe ground transportation to preserve our resources, so we'd have an ambulance outside the city for 4 hours. We would call Kaiser. Kaiser would transport, they bill, and then we get a percentage of that.
Got it.
Net collections.
And so in essence, we have made money rather than you said we would have been paying six figures. Right?
Oh, yes, correct.
So is this the first year that we've made money?
Well, this is the first year we had the ambulance service. So we've only started this pilot program in mid-January, and so this is the first quarter of that because, as we mentioned, the collections are in the rears. But during the first quarter, this is the result of the first quarter.
And just help me with my memory, since we didn't have this, and this is brand new, and just with your expertise in this, would you say that we've been losing money?
Well, we've been giving away
Giving
revenue
away,
in that we have not collected revenue when we have asked our neighboring jurisdictions to provide interfacility transfers. They would do that, but we did not collect revenue. This was a way for us to collect revenue on that as that happened.
I want to say thank you. Thank you to you and your team, and of course, the CFO, who's ever behind all this, so thank you.
Well, this is a good partnership, and certainly, you know, ways that we want to capture revenue within our system.
Councillor Matthews.
So the interfacility transfers by agency, that chart that kind of has the different bars, the bar graph, is that also just for Q1, or is that?
This is for all year.
The whole year.
And so what we've seen is, as we started off, we were kind of even, but now that we have deferred to Kaiser, they're going up significantly. And
Gotcha.
So that loss of revenue is minimized.
So my first thought when I saw this chart was, because I think the Kaiser agreement that we have, I think it works well for us financially in this regard. And also, do we need to have a similar agreement with Marion County or with Southwest Fire District? But I guess maybe with the fact that you're saying that Kaiser will have such a larger portion of them, basically everyone else's boats are reducing so much that maybe it's not needed?
That's correct,
Okay.
yeah. And I will say, this is a win-win, and when I go back to the mutual aid chart, for example, right? Our Kaiser, Marion County, they were certainly serving our community. Thousands of calls a year, right? And so we certainly thank them for providing that. We've done such a good job of serving our community that those thousands of calls and the revenue they used to generate is no longer, they're no longer getting that. And so for Kaiser in this particular instance, it's a win-win. I'm going to give a brief, we are coming up on, we have 6 months of reach, and so I just wanted to give a brief update. I did not put this in the staff report, this is a late ad, but I just wanted to give a very small update to where we are with reach. And so we've had 347 contacts over the first 6 months. Most of it has been to our unhoused community, 64%. One of the things that we're seeing when we look at alternative destinations and trying to not inundate the emergency room is those alternative destination transports. And so right now, when we do transport out of reach, 31% of the time is to an alternative destination, and these are the destinations that we have transported to. So this is certainly a way to reduce that. I will certainly give a more detailed report, information report coming up. Our data analysts are awesome. We inundated them with a few different projects, and this one's going to come up on a separate report. So just those cursory data is certainly moving in the right direction, and that alternative destination transport, which was aspirational when we started, is certainly becoming a staple of our service. With that,
Chief, excuse
yes.
me. I just want to, nobody knows this, but I don't think anybody knows this, but I did a ride-along with San Diego Fire. Getting to know you and hearing you speak about their service and their version of a REACH team, which is called a RAP team, inspired me to want to see their work and how they go about it. And I'm just throwing this out live to everyone, but I would really like to see what we can do about adding a physician's assistant to the REACH team so that medications can be prescribed in the field as needed and as those who need them want them. So
advanced practitioners are certainly something that we've talked about. I think it's certainly viable in the future. It also helps with reimbursements. As we talk about areas of improvement, alternative response models is the first one. And so I'd like to bring our EMS Deputy Chief, Steve Bowie, up here, and I'm sure he can help address that as well.
Thank you, sir.
Chief? The mayor teed it up for you.
That's perfect. I know. Well, good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. It's a pleasure to speak with you this evening. My name is Steve Bowie. I'm the new Deputy Chief of EMS here at Salem Fire. I started my time in April, near where, I don't know if that lady, she left here. But I'm new to the city as well, so just learning everything about the communities here, and I've enjoyed my time, so glad to present to you this evening. As with any new program, speaking about areas of improvement that we're looking at, organizational change of this magnitude, ongoing analysis and review are essential to sustaining quality improvement and driving continued innovation in service delivery. Our review of the first year of ambulance operations has identified several areas that we will require continued attention and investment to sustain and improve our EMS service delivery going forward. I'll now walk through an overview of some of the areas of focused improvement that we are targeting. Chief already talked about REACH as an alternative response model. And over the past decade, the fire service agencies nationwide, including here in Salem, have experienced a steep rise in call volume driven largely by low acuity calls. This includes the growing number of high system utilizers, along with calls related to mental health and substance abuse disorders. These patients and call types now make up a significant and growing share of overall EMS call volume that we see in Salem. For many years, the fire service approach to this demand has been to approach it with a one-size-fits-all, which is in most places in the country, places that don't have RAP, it's a call the fire engine and transport the patient to the emergency department in an ambulance with no other alternative options. And over the past many years throughout the country, there's been organizations like Salem Fire beginning to try and look at alternative ways to deal with this call volume and properly serve the community that we serve. The Salem Fire Department is addressing this challenge with a guiding philosophy, the right resource to the right patient at the right time. We've organized this shift in our deployment model philosophy around 3 core mission principles: respond, reduce, and redirect, and I'm going to speak a little bit about those as our guiding principles for looking at how we can change the way we're serving our community to deliver emergency medical services. This system, respond, reduce, and direct framework, reflects a broader transformation taking place in EMS systems across the country. As call volume driven by low acuity behavioral health and high utilizer patients continues to climb nationally, fire and EMS agencies are moving away from that traditional model I spoke of previously and moving into this model in its place. Under the respond component, nationally, this shift includes deploying a tiered response model, such as basic life support units, which we've tried here early in the system, and we will look to do again later, which is a basic life support ambulance that is able to respond with the right type of resource, as we talked about earlier, the right resource to those patients needing a lower acuity of care. It also includes things like community paramedics, advanced practice providers that you mentioned in the San Diego program, and behavioral health co-responders like we have now, rather than defaulting to a full advanced life support ambulance and fire engine heavy asset to respond to these emergencies. The other thing that this includes is community paramedic and public and private partner collaborative opportunities like REACH is doing today. The other thing in that space that we're looking at is peak activity units, so putting more units in service at parts of the day that the data actually shows we need those units in the system versus a full 24-hour model, looking at starting them at different stop times and start times throughout the day and other things like that to explore in the coming years to figure out how to make the system more effective for our citizens. Under reduce, we want to reduce inappropriate emergency department use in the country is estimated to cost healthcare system $38 billion annually, and roughly 16% of Medicare ED transports are considered treatable outside the emergency department, especially with advanced provider systems like you spoke of, Madam Mayor. By reducing the reliance on heavy resource-intensive units for low acuity calls, agencies like Salem can preserve those assets for fire suppression, all-hazard response, and genuine medical emergencies, which is the same principle driving Salem's effort to reduce this through the REACH program currently. We have reduced our reliance on heavy assets nearly 30% down to 70% of our EMS calls, when prior to REACH, we were sending heavy assets on at least 98% of our medical calls in the system. So that's a significant drop already, which allows the heavy assets to be available for fires and other high acuity calls. Reducing unnecessary transport also, in turn, reduces units being tied up on non-emergency calls, ensuring patients receive the care they actually need, and it helps address a critical problem that we have in our system, which is extended ambulance offload times. There are times in the system, like the chief mentioned earlier, where we have 5 to 10 ambulances there, and what we have figured out in looking at the data, it's not necessarily how long they sit there, which obviously does affect our response reliability in the field, but it affects the moment that there's multiple units. That's when we start seeing our transport times, our response times start going up. It can increase level 0, so we're trying to figure out and monitor how many ambulances are sitting there at any given time and do system design changes in order to help get those ambulances freed up from the emergency department. And then redirect. The redirect component reflects the rise of mobile integrated health and community paramedicine programs nationally. Although these programs have existed for some time, since the early 1990s, the published data shows they are associated with meaningful reductions in emergency department visits, hospital readmissions, particularly for frequent EMS utilizers, and patients with chronic conditions such as mental health and addiction. Programs across the country, including behavioral health co-responder programs like REACH, are continuing to illustrate success in this area. As the chief mentioned earlier, the REACH pilot program has demonstrated strong early results, and the department is committed to continuing and enhancing and expanding its role in our system. The next area I want to touch on is personnel staffing. The ambulance transport system has continued to evolve since deployment over a year ago. The evolution has included a brief pilot of a BLS ambulance, adjustments to shifts and scheduling structures, and increased unit hours across the system. These changes have provided valuable insight that will guide future adjustments needed to sustain and improve our performance and service delivery. Our people are central to the success. It is essential that we continue to focus on a service delivery model that supports our EMS professionals with a safe work environment, one that promotes proper work-life balance, employee health and wellness, and overall job satisfaction. As illustrated earlier in this presentation, this is a high-volume system that places significant demands on our providers. Moving forward, it will be crucial that we continue to address workload on our personnel, as it directly affects our ability to deliver outstanding patient care and customer service, and our ability to recruit and retain qualified employees. Our ability to recruit and retain staff is directly tied to several areas. One of them is overtime dependence. We have continued to evaluate our staffing model with the goal of reducing reliance on overtime to meet minimum staffing requirements. As noted earlier in this presentation, our EMS professionals have consistently worked significant amount of hours to keep this system fully staffed. Over the past year, they have worked over 37,000 hours of overtime, with 16,000 of those hours being mandated on them to work in order to maintain our staffing levels. That work-life balance ensures our scheduling and staffing models support a sustainable balance between work demands and the personal well-being remains a key priority as we refine our deployment model. Additional area that we're focusing on is hiring efficiencies for recruitment and retention. The staffing challenges Salem Fire Department has experienced are not unique. They reflect a workforce crisis affecting EMS agencies nationwide. Understanding the national landscape helps frame why continued investment in our EMS workforce is critical. National data shows the annual turnover for full-time EMTs and paramedics has consistently ranged between 20 and 36% in the recent years, meaning many agencies effectively turn over entire EMS system workforces every 3 to 4 years. Workforce surveys show that burnout has become one of the defining issues facing EMS nationally, and recent industry data found only 59% of agencies report having enough staff to answer 911 calls. We're very blessed that right now we're not in that case, as you can see by our compliance and our response standard, but we want to keep it that way to make sure we have a good place to keep continuing to recruit people to work at. These pressures are compounded by a shortage of EMTs and paramedics, especially paramedics, over the last 5 to 10 years in the state of Oregon that predates the pandemic, but has been accelerated since then. The state of Oregon has seen consistent reduction in enrollments in paramedic schools for several years now. One to note, we have some good news in our region. The Chemeketa's paramedic program reported that this cohort that's starting had over 116 applicants. That's up from over 79, I think, the year prior. Unfortunately, with that many applicants, they can still only take 24 through that cohort, so meaning that in another year, which we have a couple of our members going through, they will put out 24 new paramedics just out of that paramedic school out into the system to be looking for work. Okay. Federal workforce projections.
Can we pause you for just a second?
Absolutely.
Councilor Brown has a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't sure if we could ask questions as you go through each one of these.
Yes,
Is that okay?
I apologize for that, absolutely.
Oh, you don't have to apologize. I'll take it out on Chief Carrera. So you're good. You're good. So my question is, in what you just said, so you mentioned 36,000 hours in OT time?
Yes.
Mandatory? I don't know, because I think this is an operational question, because I want to know what does that account when it comes to actual money. But we can talk about that later. I'm just curious. But you mentioned the employee health and well-being. So my question is this. You know, I'm long overdue for another ride-along. And some of the last conversations I had with folks in the field was about several officers, including paramedics. They've been divorced, some of them more than once. And one of the things that I asked, because I was asking all these personal questions, as I was asking, I wanted to know, like, what was the primary reason? And the reason was the job. The job was so demanding to me because of overtime. And if you just mentioned about a cohort that will only be able to put 24 in one, what would be the long-term solution to find a way to where we can have more cohorts, but at the same time lower the divorce rate? That may not be the problem, but I'm just trying to figure out how do we make sure that those individuals who are concerned about their health and well-being because they're working overtime and it's impacting their family and their life. So you see where I'm going with that?
Absolutely. I'm going to let the chief address part of it, but the part you like that? But the part I do want to address for you is to make sure you understand. So Chemeketa is one school in the state of Oregon. So when we start looking out, the Portland metropolitan area has got 3 or 4 schools. Chemeketa Community College, OIT, down in southern Oregon, they have one. They have one in central Oregon in Bend. So that's one school, but it gives you a snapshot of the lack of new paramedics that are coming out, especially at the paramedic level, into the state. And some of them want to be firefighters, some of them don't want to be paramedics, some of them are actually, we found out they're a very short run because they want to go to PA school, so they're coming out to do that, and then they go right to PA school, so they don't stay in the industry very long. So that smaller cohort that's been going on for a while, just reducing over the last, especially 10 years, has really affected the amount of paramedics that are out there to hire for all the agencies that are doing this work. So I want to make sure that I'm clear on what that cohort really shows in the bigger picture, that there's more schools in that. And Chief, I don't know if you want to add into it.
I'll add a couple. One, the financial considerations you mentioned with overtime. And we're within our personnel budget, and we will stay there. If we pay overtime or if we pay for a full-time employee, those costs are going to be the same, right? So we're not going to be exactly the same. Might even be cheaper to pay overtime sometimes, but we know the human side of that, and so we don't want to do that too much. So I don't think it's not a financial challenge as much as it is a human challenge. As far as retention and recruitment, so I think really is not one answer, but it's pulling multiple levers, which we're doing. So one is Chemeketa is a great example that. We have not taken on interns or any of their students before COVID. And now we do have an agreement with Chemeketa. So we have fire students riding along now. We also have paramedic students that are going to be doing their internship through the Salem Fire Department, which gives us the opportunity that we get to see them, they get to see us, and increase our recruitment to come into our organization. As well, just since we started, we had two of our EMTs that became paramedics, and so they're now working as paramedics. We have 2 of our EMTs that are in their internship now within our organization, becoming paramedics, and we have 2 more that are starting paramedic school here in September. I believe September, right? Also within that, we've had 7 of our paramedics are now in the fire academy becoming firefighters. So we're seeing a progression. And as we see that progression from EMT to paramedic, paramedic to firefighter, that certainly increases our recruitment efforts because they do see that there's an opportunity to move in this organization. And so we are pulling many different levers to do it and seeing our people progress. But it is certainly, it's certainly constant. And it is with any organization, but I think we're doing pretty good with where we're at.
And I would commend you on that because, when I see the work that you do and the work that we don't see, because while I'm asleep, you guys are still up, right? Someone on the team is protecting us, and so thank you for that. But the reason I brought up in regards to the health and well-being was just to elevate that component, that there is a human side to this. There's a human cost that when your teams are out there fighting fires and just keeping us safe, there's a human, toll that takes place in someone's body. It's a human toll that takes place in someone's family. And so I just wanted to elevate that part because the work that you do is commendable, but there's also another side of that where it does harm an individual. So.
Well, we definitely want to be a people-focused organization. I think we certainly take that to heart. I will say one more thing about the overtime piece, and I know we're talking about hours. The hiring piece is in the hiring efficiencies and why that is. And so, we bring 7 members that become firefighters. So we have to hire behind that. And so, we try to hire quickly, and we overhire initially to fill those positions. But because of just the system we have, we'll get a week before the academy and maybe we lose 2 people out of our psychological exam, which is not unusual. And so now we don't have enough time to put them into that academy. So we're already down 2. And then maybe go through the fire academy, they get on probation, and they realize that we are one of the busiest ambulance services in the state, bar none. And so they realize this volume is incredibly high. Maybe this isn't the right fit, or they need to go to a slower system to build some skills, and maybe they didn't complete probation. So we may lose some. And then we need to go all the way back to hiring and go through that process again, right? So, so there are strategies that we're talking about over hiring, how we do that to make sure that we don't have those ebbs and flows on staffing.
Got it. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Chief. Yeah, I just want to say the last thing on the hiring component that the Chief was touching on is that that as we try to innovate and try to look at different ways to recruit because of the lack of the people that are coming up, and how do we make Salem Fire's EMS system a destination department? Because that's what the Chief has directed us to do, and that's what all of us have the passion to do on the command staff and the organization. So how are we going to be different than Eugene, who does Eugene Springfield, who transports, Corvallis, who transports, Albany, the Portland metro area, and like how do we compete? We have to keep continuing to create that environment for people that want to work here through cultural change, through working conditions, through hours. There's so many different things, and that's really high on our list as we move forward to continue to innovate this program forward. So I just wanted to make sure we touch on that. The other thing that we're looking at in that space is supporting for career advancement. So many EMS systems on the EMS side of the house, when they're in a fire service EMS-based system, have promotional opportunities and growth areas and career advancement for people that are just on the EMS side. Because while I would argue with the fire brothers I have in the room here that I would rather have all the good paramedics not become firefighters and stay working on the ambulances, working under me to give the great service to our community. So how do we create an environment for where those people that want to grow in that area have opportunities to do that? And we don't currently have those in the organization, so it's something we're going to be looking at moving forward to help support the mission. The other thing I wanted to touch on is the facilities. So standing up this large organization on the slide earlier, the Chief you saw in there 60+ new employees, whether that was admin staff to support the EMS division that I manage to manage this ambulance service operations, or the men and women that are serving at the EMS professional level. We had to find a place to quarter them. And the fire stations that were built here over the years were not set up for what we call multi-company houses, so we've had a lot of difficulty figuring out how to put vehicles in the stations and actually put them in the fire stations where they need to be, for where the call volume and distribution is, where all the data shows and the heat maps show that they should be stationed. Some of that's not possible because of the way the quarters are set up, whether it's apparatus doesn't fit or the people don't fit. And so we're really looking at that to figure out over the next so many years, how do we step into that space in order to provide proper living quarters to our people. So the majority of the fire stations, I said, were constructed prior to this expansion. In addition to space constraints created by the increased staffing, the department is also facing a growing industry recommendation that sleeping quarters and bathroom facilities be configured or newly constructed to meet privacy standards for all employees. Because Salem stations were built under older design standards, achieving compliance with this and current best practices has been proven difficult. I will say it's been amazing to come in from the outside of the organization and look at what was done to accommodate, to figure out how we can make this work. There was a lot of creativity, a lot of good minds that went together to figure out how to do this in order to be able to make the best we can of the quarters, but these are temporary fixes that need to be addressed in the coming years as we move forward. With that said, we're excited to meet these challenges and continue to strive to have the best EMS system in the state of the country for our citizens, and I welcome any other questions on my topics.
Councilor Brown.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. This first question is really for Chief Carrera, because I want to see him get out of his chair. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. You're probably thinking like, Irvin, that's cruel. No, I wouldn't do that to you. At least not tonight. So my question is this. So you mentioned about the advancement in recruiting, right? And I've heard from the city manager that sometimes that's not always easy, right? And one of Chief's goals when he joined the team was to find a way to diversify the ranks, right? Meaning more people of color, more women. And so can you walk us through, like, how is that going?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was before Chief Bowie arrived. I'll talk about some of that. But, you know, on June 30th, 2025, the day before he took over service, 1% of our operational workforce was female. On July 1st of 2025, 13% of our operational workforce was female. And so that one day changed because we brought on EMS professionals that were diversified, certainly has an impact on our service. It has an impact on quarters, as you mentioned, that weren't built to have this diversified workforce, right? You know, one of the ways, you know, one of the questions is how do you diversify your workforce? I will tell you that the way we did it was we hired the best people possible. And so we hired the highest scores with the most capable people, and those are the people that ended up being here. But people may ask too, what's the importance of that? And I'll just give you one anecdote, and that is when we started REACH, we started with 3 permanent personnel. We still have 3 permanent personnel and then a relief team. We started with 3 men. Our mental health professional from Marion County just left. He went to go to PA school, actually, to become a psychological PA. So hopefully he'll come back here and work for us. And then our emergency medical technician left because he's going to paramedic school, and his eventual goal is to become a firefighter paramedic with us, and so which I'm confident he will achieve. We replaced both of those positions with 2 women in the organization, one from Marion County and then one of our EMTs. And unsolicited, they came up to me recently and they said, hey, we've been out and we watched our engagement change, that we're engaging so much more quickly with a vulnerable population of women. And we know that many people in these unmanaged encampments have been suffered through abuse, and so building trust with men is inherently difficult sometimes, probably. And so we're already seeing a benefit to that service delivery model just because of the diversity we have.
And I want to say this to the folks that are in the space and watching at home. I purposely asked that question because I want people to see not only the vision that we have, that's obviously that starts from top down, from city manager all the way to you, is that matters, right? It matters to hear you and your team say, hey, this is what's going on. This is how many women we have. Because somebody home is watching, right? Or in the space, they're watching. They're like, okay, I want to do that too. Because I'm a firm believer, the more we have a diverse group of people and our young people, if our young people can see that there's someone in that badge that looks like them, that can identify with them, it's one of the best recruiting methods I've ever known, especially when I was an educator, right? When students saw me teach or when students saw me as a principal, they're like, you know, Mr. Brown, you're the first black principal I've ever had, right? And so to have this equity lens being used in your department and with your leadership, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for that being a forefront, because that's not easy. It's not easy to find a way to discuss a topic that could become easily divisive, right? But when you have a visionary and when you have someone that is doing it with intentionality, it means a lot. So I just want to give you and your team thanks and appreciation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Councilor Nordick.
Thank you so much, and thank you, folks. I appreciate all the work that you do every day. And as a side note, are any of our firefighters engaged in the wildfires across the state right now? Just as a quick aside.
Yeah, right now we have we have 3 engines out and some overhead. So they have been turning over. They typically do a 14-day assignment if at the most, and then they'll come back and we'll rotate. It's important to note that our participation is fully reimbursed, so we get that those personnel costs back as well as our equipment costs, and we have fully staffed our organization. So we never deploy more people than would be possible to staff the organization, but the experience that they bring back is invaluable. We know, you look around, we have a significant wildland urban interface threat in Salem. We have seen the progression that has happened, and it's global. You look at what happened in Spokane, and even you look at what's happening in France right now. So this is certainly a threat that is present.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I saw that over 2 million acres are impacted by wildfires, and just knowing that, I know that it just seems like it's in your DNA to just go where the harm is and go where all of the biggest challenges are. So thank you, and please extend my gratitude to everyone who's braving the wildfires from Salem Fire Department. Now, I did have a question about the REACH team. Thank you for throwing some stats out there because I want to keep REACH team very top of mind. I know it's doing extraordinary work. It's doing trauma-informed work. And as you pointed out, fire departments across the nation, this is not new. It's just new to Salem. But we are starting to address these concerns in a much more holistic way. A stat that I did not see on your chart tonight, but I would love to see in the future, what percentage of these calls are really mental health calls? You saw the slide showing a majority are calls involving persons who are experiencing homelessness, but I would love to see more content show me what percentage of the calls that your REACH team members are responding to are mental health based.
That is a stat that we do track, and it'll be in our 6-month comprehensive review.
And remind me, when will we be seeing that review?
Within the month.
Okay, great. Thank you. I really look forward to that. I know you were here earlier for the conversation about Northeast United, and I was struck by the fact that the mental health population, especially amongst our unsheltered, was one of the top concerns that Northeast Salem has raised. So I just think that we're going to see this come up over and over again. The more we ask people about it, the more people are going to identify how important it is to have that mental health service component in addition to the medical component. So thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. And I would say I would thank the council for supporting that program. I think we've seen tremendous benefit from that. Absolutely.
Councillor Matthews.
On the REACH team chart that you gave, I think it was, I don't have the exact numbers and it's not in our report, but I think it was, 347 total contacts. Are those unique contacts, or are those, could the same individual be two of those numbers?
Those are, that could be some repeat contacts in there. Yes. In our report, we come up, we do have those that are top 100 users, and the reduction in those, we do see a reduction in their use of the 911 system after we've contacted them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your support, and thank you for the community for your support. Appreciate it very much.
We're moving on to the item which was pulled, 3.2.1, which is now 5.3. It's all you, Councillor Varney.
Thank you. I move that we adopt resolution number 2026-35, amending the City Council policy number C-25, solid waste management, as recommended by the Solid Waste Committee.
Second.
Motion and a second by Gwynn. Councillor, to your motion.
Thank you. I pulled this for a couple of reasons, just to bring attention to it and to recognize Juliana Douglas, our Climate Action Plan Manager, for all the hard work she did bringing this forward. I wanted to mention, this just didn't appear out of thin air. Back in 2022, in August of 2022, the Salem City Council approved a motion requesting city staff to begin working on a solid waste policy for City Council review. We didn't have a solid waste policy before, and it was, they wanted them to include equitable service provision and rates, climate action plan elements, Oregon's Recycling Modernization Act, and review service options of other cities and counties. And so this addition to the policy brings forward the climate action plan elements and addressing Oregon's Recycling Modernization Act. I wanted to say Councillor Gwynn, Councillor Nishioka, and I have all been on the Solid Waste Committee since the committee was first formed in June of 2023, and we've really enjoyed following the process and had great discussions, learning about solid waste stream, landfill capacity, cost of service, setting rates, et cetera. And so adding on the climate action plan element, which relates directly to Section 7 of the 183 strategies in our climate action plan on materials and waste, is a really important thing to add to this policy. Let's see if I have anything. I wanted to mention that the ultimate goal here with the direction that we're trying to head is to achieve a 56% waste reduction from the 2016 baseline in the tonnage of waste sent to the landfill, and do this across Salem by 2050. I know it's a high goal, to reduce by that much, but this policy has things to encourage increase recycling, encourage composting, other things, so that we can actually reduce the amount of waste that we are producing and sending to the landfill. And that's why it's so important. So I wanted to say thank you, Juliana. Sorry to keep you up so late tonight, but I just appreciate all your hard work on it. This was originally brought to the committee in February of 2026, and then we took a lot of public comment on it in May of 2026, and then here we are tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, thank you very much. If there's nothing further, then will the recorder please call the roll?
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Councillor Teigen.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka. Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. All right, we are moving on to information reports. I'll just read these one at a time. If you have something on them, stop me. Item 6.1, the hearings officer decision, a conditional use permit for a short-term rental within an existing single-family dwelling. Approved conditional use case number CU26-05-Rosemary DeCiervi, 946 Royalty Drive Northeast. Item 6.2, the City of Salem Fiscal Year 2026, Quarter 4 Preliminary Financial Report. All right, moving on, we have no first readings. We're moving on to 7.2, second readings. To the recorder.
Ordinance Bill Number 8-26, an ordinance relating to boards, commissions, and committees, amending SRC 2.040, 2.530, 2.535, 2.540, 2.545, 2.655, 4.035, 5.010, 5.020, 5.030, 6.010, 8.010, 9.300, 12.015, 13.030, 13.055, 15.020, 16.020, 16.040, 18.020, 18.040, 20C.020, 20C.030, 20C.040, 20E.040, and 20I.020. Repealing SRC 2.650, 6.030, 13.040, 13.070, and 16.030, creating new provisions SRC 2.560 and 2.565. Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Councillor Teigen.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka, absent. Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. Item 7.2.2.
Ordinance Bill Number 10-26, an ordinance relating to a commercial property assessed clean energy program, creating new provisions SRC 39.010, 39.020, 39.030, 39.040, and 39.050. Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Councillor Teigen.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka. Absent. Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. Item 7.2.3.
Ordinance Bill Number 12-26, an ordinance declaring certain territory located at 3851 Croisan Creek Road South, annexed to the City of Salem, prescribing zoning and withdrawing the territory from the Salem Suburban Rural Fire Protection District. Councillor Nordyke.
Aye.
Councillor Varney.
Aye.
Councillor Teigen.
Aye.
Councillor Nishioka is absent. Councillor Matthews.
Aye.
Councillor Gwynn.
Aye.
Councillor Brown.
Aye.
Councillor Vang.
Aye.
Mayor Julie Hoy.
Aye. All right, we're moving on to item 8, which is public comment. The only person we have signed up is City Manager Nomburi.
All right.
No?
No, I just wanted to kind of, well, I wanted to say something, but when we talked about the Northeast United work, I forgot to mention Councillor Vang. And when we talked about the Northeast United, I forgot to mention your name. Thank you for your work with the neighborhood associations in the Northeast and for supporting the Northeast United work. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. And point of order, do we have another ordinance reading under 7.2.3, Mayor? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Just confirming with the recorder, we did all 3 of the second readings, correct?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. All right. If there is nothing further for anyone, we are adjourned.